Yes, I get you there, and then I get you out
I
of
beat
there.
you up and then I nurse you back to health. All right, let's do this thing. All right, and welcome back to The Price for Paradise. My name's Woody, aka Creston Woods, and with me today, back by popular demand, my man James asked for this podcast, and we had to bring him back. And now that we're on video, we're going to go over his whole story again. So, welcome back, Isaiah Lopez, registered nurse, my boxing coach, and personal pastor. And so, thanks for coming on, brother.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good. I've been busy as of late, doing a lot of different things, staying busy. We gotta keep striving for more.
All right, Isaiah. So let's take it back. Like how did we meet first off, and then what brought you to Arizona and all the things?
Yeah. So initially, I came to Arizona to pursue my nursing degree. Of course, nursing in California is super impacted, so I chose to make that move here in Arizona with that chance. Starting new, starting fresh. Got into school out here at Chamberlain University. I got a job here at Elevate within the first week of me moving, which was insane because I was like, okay, I gotta find a job, gotta make some money, gotta find a place. And within a month's time, I was already working, going to school, and doing all that kind of stuff. And then I met you. I met you actually here at the gym when I was working at the front desk.
Yeah, I sit at the front desk all day, and I chop it up with all the front desk people, and they become my best friends after a while. And then eventually I realized this guy, he's an amazing boxing coach, and so he's been, mentoring me on the boxing side of things for a long time. And I actually need to get back into it because I've been slacking lately, guys.
Yes,
but
yes,
I
you
know how much better I do when I am fighting for my own life all the time with you. It makes me like literally and metaphorically go out there and like push harder and fight for things. And I loved boxing with you, dude. It's awesome.
You know what? It's so funny because you were the first person out here that started training with me. Like out of everybody out here
OG
that I started
client.
training, you're the first and the most consistent out of everybody. Like I remember the first sessions that we did where it was like, all right, hey, just to warn you, this gonna be tough. And mind you, I don't ever put anything past you because you do like the Ironmans and that type of stuff. So I'm like, okay, he'll be used to it.
But it's a different kind of cardio.
It's a different animal.
And at first I had to tell him, I'm like, dude, do you like on the working out side of things, this guy would just throw me through the ringer and then he'd be like, all right, put the mitts on. Now we're going to box. And I would be like, dude, I'm like cooked already. Yeah. You want me to like throw punches now?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a totally different type of cardio, and anybody that does any type of cardio type sport, right? Something that requires a lot of endurance, you're in for a shock when you get into boxing because it goes from high intensity to low, and it's just that constant shift. And you need to be prepared and just your overall, I guess, the intensity of it to be able to adapt through an entire fight. I mean, let alone a 12-round fight. So,
yeah, and he always let me do my breath work with him beforehand because I know that like very impactful. All the fighters love breathing, and so once we started doing that and just like knowing that in a fight the person who loses their breath first is going to be the person that is losing the fight, and so it's like pretty obvious to see if you ever watch a fight. You'll see the guy panting, and you'll be like, oh, that guy's not. He's not in it yet. The other guy's in control, and that is like the name of the game. And that's just thanks for letting me even bring that on too.
Oh yeah, definitely. And like you just said, the breath control is a major part of boxing that a lot of people overlook, and they don't really practice on that. You'll see fighters, not even halfway through the fight already, breathing with their mouth open, and they're not controlling their breathing properly. Even when they're throwing their punches, they're not breathing properly. They're letting off too much air, or they're not taking enough in. So you have to have that balance where it's like, okay, I'm going to be expending this much energy. This is how much breath I need for this particular action. So that's like one thing a lot of fighters overlook.
All right. So as a fighting coach, how do we breathe when we fight? Like I always hear him making those noises that tss, tss. And yeah, is that like how you're supposed to do it?
Well, everybody customizes the sound that they make pertaining to the person. But of course, when you're throwing your punches, it's a slight exhale, not letting off all of your oxygen, because you need to retain some of that in order to throw any other further punches that you have. So if I have a five punch combination, I have to be able to expel some of this carbon dioxide within those several punches. If I try to over expel too much oxygen, or rather carbon dioxide, then I'm going to get more fatigued, and then you're going to have to try to take in more air. So you try to do it in increments so that you retain that energy and you keep that energy throughout the fight.
And if you hold your breath, you're gonna be really stiff and you can't move, and
Oh yeah.
and
Hmm.
so you need that for the fluidity of movement as well.
Exactly, exactly. And one thing for me as a fighter, I've learned that retaining energy is a really important part of the fight game, and that is implicated with proper body mechanics, being able to know the mechanism of the fight game and how to do it efficiently. Because that's a sweet science, right? That's what boxing
Yeah.
is. You have to be able to go in the fight with proper mechanics so that you don't expel so much energy, breathe properly, so that you can last through a 12-round fight.
Yeah, it's a game of attrition. It's a game of
Hmm.
endurance, right?
Exactly. And you know what? Anybody can learn this because I learned this when I was 8, 9 years old. I was fighting 12, 13 rounds in just a sparring session alone. And I would say that sparring sessions are a lot more brutal than the fights themselves because of how much damage you're taking in your constant, continuous weekly sparring sessions. So, I
Yeah.
mean, you have to be prepared for that.
And I think everyone should, like, train some sort of fighting skill. I think that it's a great like release of adrenaline and tension and emotional control. It's a great practice for pretty much anybody. You don't have to be in fights to be a fighter, right? And you have,
Mhm.
like, I had a kid client, and he's been bullied a lot, and his parents were asking a little bit of like what he can do. He was at home punching the bag on his own, and he was busting up his knuckles and
Mhm.
like bleeding a little bit, and they were like, you shouldn't fight. And then I was like, no, 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 fighting is good. It's just learning how to fight the right way, and in a way that's going to be stress relieving, teaching you, some of those skills so that you can have that self-confidence that you can take care of yourself too.
Exactly, and that's one thing that I always encourage kids to take upon is fighting, right? Boxing, because you build up the confidence that you would have never found before in any other sport, and that's something that you can't really find in sports like football or soccer or team sports, because boxing's a one man show, and you have to be able to take it upon yourself that I'm doing the work here, I'm dedicating myself 100%, and essentially at the end of the day you're the one that has your own back. That's where the confidence comes from.
Yeah, and I think that baseball had taught me a lot about confidence, because sometimes you have to be a little bit more confident than
Hmm.
you think you are. It's a game of failures, right? And so when you're failing 70% of the time, you have to
Oh
go up
yeah.
into the batter's box and you not be defeated going into it, because
Hmm.
that defeat or that lack of confidence is going to definitely not help you hit the next one, even though
Right.
you already have a 3 out of 10 chance to get it. So why
Hmm.
why are you putting yourself at a disadvantage? And confidence is so important to how we hold ourselves in life.
Hmm. Yeah, and exactly. That's one thing that I had always struggled with when I was a kid, was that confidence, right? Being able to trust in my own abilities, and to know that, hey, you know what, I can do this. And so when I took upon boxing, that my whole mentality changed. I noticed that I was standing with my chest out, my head straight up, and
Posture gets better.
and I just felt a lot more confident in any decision that I made throughout my life, not just in boxing, but even in my nursing school, even in other ventures that I went into. It just made me have more trust in myself that I can do it, in spite of what anybody else could say.
Yeah, I
So
love it. Have you ever read any of the Jordan Peterson books and stuff like that?
I love Jordan
Yeah,
Peterson.
he talks about like this one where like the lobsters, if
Hmm.
they get defeated in a battle, they go like this and they hunch over and they
Hmm.
they look with this bad posture. And the ones that win, they sit up tall and they are
Hmm.
chest out and they're puffing it out and they're all confident, and
Right.
it leads to more wins going into the next fight.
It's funny that you mentioned that because he talks about how the serotonin within lobsters is very similar to how we operate as humans. So when we feel defeat, a lobster essentially feels that same thing, because when they're battling for mates and whatnot and they lose, they feel that same depression that essentially a human would feel. And like you said, they would slouch their shoulders and feel that defeatedness. But essentially, it's overcoming that, and we can see that we as humans we're very capable. I mean, you see so many people that have been in a hole at one point, and they found themselves out of that through the perseverance and the confidence that they're able to build through their experiences.
And other people can see it. Like, I mean, when you walk into a room, they kind of subtly can tell like where your state is because of the way you hold yourself. And that is just, it's another great skill to learn at an early age.
Right. I mean, I actually work with a 10-year-old. He's 10 years old now. And he is very talented. Shout out to you, Daniel, if you're out there.
Yeah.
Little D. And he is a very talented kid. And, with him, he's always struggled with that confidence too. He always wants to show what he's made of, but he never really had that opportunity to until I taught him some boxing. I took him to some gyms and I had him do sparring with other kids, and his talent is so beyond what most kids are, partly because I'm his coach, of course, but also because he really wants to show what he's made of. And that's one thing I've encouraged them on the most is, hey, be confident. Know that this failure will then lead to greater success because we always learn from our mistakes.
Yeah, failures are just lessons, right? And you have to fail a bunch of times to learn that lesson. And I think as a kid, you get a lot of those failures out of the way. And that's why starting things early is so important. And I have a client who I've been teaching tennis, golf, and pickleball lately. And he's a beginner at all these things at the age of 20. And he's really actually a lot better as a beginner than a lot of people would be, but he didn't put those years in as a kid, right? And so when I play against him, I'm kicking his butt because I've played, these games for 20 years. And so I have this advantage on him, but he doesn't understand, like when he loses against me, I have to keep reminding him like, hey dude, you're playing against someone that's a lot more elite than you at this sport. And if you can get these failures out of the way with me, then you're going to beat all your friends. And so like it is going to pay off in the long run. You're going to learn a lot more as long as you can keep your head up and keep moving and keep just having fun with it.
Exactly. And you know what? Another thing with boxing is I always encourage everybody to try boxing, whether it be just for the fitness aspect or if you're going to compete. That's another thing that you can go into. And the reason why I encourage it is because you really find out what you're made of when you're on the ropes, taking a bunch of punches from somebody, or even just in the exercise aspect, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you found out what you're made of when you're in the bag.
Yeah, I realized my level of endurance, like from upper body, because I thought I was really good at endurance, but it's a different kind of endurance when you're punching and you're using your arms, right? I have some shoulders from baseball and stuff like that, and my right arm has some endurance from throwing, but my left arm was just getting cooked all the time when we started boxing because I didn't realize I never used it in that fashion and that kind of training.
Right, and that's what they say about the fight game is you learn more about yourself as the fight goes on. Right, at the beginning of the fight, you may have all this confidence, but throughout the fight, you start to see what you're really made of. Am I somebody that's going to go through this 12-round fight and really give it my all and not back down? And, in spite of this adversity that I'm feeling, am I going to be able to surpass that or am I going to cower? Right. And, the natural instinct of a lot of us is, either to fight or flight. Right.
Yeah.
What am I going to choose? And you know what? The majority of the time, you're going to see people fight through that. It doesn't matter who you are. So, I encourage anybody out there, if you're going to try something, try boxing because that's going to show what you're made of and you'll surprise yourself. I guarantee it.
And just because I'm a runner does not mean I'm running from things, right? You have to have that fight out there when you're on the trails too, okay, guys? And when you're in the middle of a marathon, that's where the fight comes out. And then, so I think sometimes people think we just run from our problems.
No,
as
you're
runners.
running towards something.
I'm running towards something. I got a goal in mind.
Exactly.
And so do you still do boxing training? Do you still work with boxing therapy?
Yeah, so I teach boxing, not as much as I used to because now that I've, started working as a nurse, I have like a whole lot of other things on my plate. But I try to box here and there. I do teach Sunday classes and Thursday classes as well during the week. I'm actually working on putting together a worship and boxing class.
Dude, I saw that. And
right.
that's so cool. And so you're basically going to, teach about the Bible verses as you do a boxing workout?
Exactly. So I call it the word of defense, right? Because the word of God is the thing that pushes us to, go through our lives and walk in spirit and in truth. And of course, to be able to defend ourselves against anything that may come upon us in our lives, right? It's that spiritual defense that we need, and what better way to express it than boxing and faith, right? So I do that with a group of people. We talk about boxing. We read Bible verses, and we just get together as a big family.
And I always love the fear nothing but God mentality, because it does bring you such confidence, right?
Hmm.
And just like if you can remind yourself that every time you get scared of something, and you just have to trust in God's plan that He's got you, and He's the only thing you need to be afraid of.
Right. Yeah.
And then it'll get you through a lot of holes and out of a lot of messes for sure.
Yeah, I think it's a very healthy way of thinking. When you say fear God, I mean when you have respect for somebody, great respect, right? You have this humility to you, right? And it makes us all humble in any experience that we go about with any interaction that we have with any person. So I think it's really good to keep that in mind. That hey, you know, fearing God also comes with that humility and that self recognition of okay, He's also got my back.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I love it. I love it. And you work over there with Jason, and
Yes.
he's still doing a great job. He's got some kids programs. He's
Hmm.
got a lot of things going on over there, right?
Oh yeah, he has a huge kids program right now. There's a lot of new talent there. A lot of kids that are starting to work on the basics of boxing, kickboxing. He does a mix of MMA, boxing, and of kickboxing, of course. He is a former MMA fighter. He's competed in Japan and a lot of other
Jason
places.
Bress.
Jason Bress. He's a great teacher, a great follower of God, and he just wants to help people. That's his goal, and that's his mission, right? His mission, from what he's told me, is to be able to lead people to solve their problems of their everyday struggles. Which is why I gravitated to him so quickly because we have a lot of the same ideas and values. So I really love that.
I love it, dude. And yeah, we might have to get him on here next month or something like that.
Oh
I'll hit
yeah.
him up, and yeah, I definitely think we need to put his face to the name. And
Hmm.
so, but also, you are a nurse, which,
Hmm.
I at first knowing you, I did not understand how boxing and nurse went together, and now I completely understand.
Hmm.
But yes, give us how you went that route as well.
Yeah, my dream of being a nurse. Well, I mean, me being a boxer, I'm like, man, I'm hurting these guys enough. I want to be able to help them too. So I'll see
You're
you
gonna
at
nurse
the
him back
hospital.
afterwards.
I'm like, hey, all right, I knocked you out now. I'm gonna see you at the hospital and I'll take care of you.
Yeah.
No, but for my journey as a nurse, I actually was inspired to become a nurse because of family matters. My mom will always have these illnesses that I wanted to be able to help in some capacity, and I always felt so helpless because I couldn't do anything about it. And I myself was always in hospitals because of broken arms and little accidents that I had. So whenever I ended up in a hospital, I'm like, man, this is really cool. This is something different and unique, and you get to work with people, and I love working with people. So that was one thing that really inspired me to become a nurse is family matters, and of course my love of people and science and all that kind of stuff. So that really pushed me towards becoming a nurse. And believe me, the road to become a nurse was so difficult, so hard. And I just am so grateful for my past self that I was able to endure and really grow in nursing and to now be working as a registered nurse with my bachelor's, by the way. So,
Yeah, there you go.
yeah,
BSN.
exactly.
Those letters mean something right there on the
Yeah,
shirt. Yeah.
yeah. This isn't just for show. It means something. I actually can do stuff with this.
Yeah. And so talk to me about those challenges that you found out that there were there in the nursing field.
Yeah. So I mean, when it comes to nursing, you have a lot of different areas that you can work in. You have an emergency department. You have ICU. Um, in just various areas. I personally work in home health. I work with pediatric patients. So I work with kids with disabilities, disabilities of various kinds, cerebral palsy, CF, and all kinds of other conditions. And uh, you see a lot of struggles within the family dynamics when it comes to like how they're managing care for their kids, and that's an obstacle that a lot of people tend to deal with, and you don't really see it. You don't when you're walking around, you don't really see it, and And it's really, disheartening because this deserves more recognition that families are dealing with these problems behind the scenes, and they really need that encouragement and they need that help from others, that support. So I love working in home health. I love working with the families that I work with. They're really great families. You almost become a part of the family.
Yeah.
And the thing with home health is like they draw that line of, oh, this is a patient, but then again, they become your family, right? And I kind of blur that line sometimes. I'm like, you know what? I really care about this person. I really want to see you do good. I want to see you grow and live a long life, in spite of your conditions. In other regards, in terms of nursing, I think that nursing itself has definitely gone a different route in terms of the bedside. A lot of nurses are leaving the bedside and looking into different ventures because they're understaffed. They don't have enough nurses for the amount of patients that we have. I know a friend of mine in California. She works essentially 5 to 6 patients per one nurse. Some even take more
So
patients.
they're rotating around. They're, always bouncing back and forth, and they don't
Hmm.
have as much time to get to know the person and do those things that you're talking about of like that
Exactly.
personal feel.
Right. That rapport that you build with the patient. And that's really key in nursing. You have to have that rapport. You have to know the
It's funny
patient.
because it's like not in a lot of other, aspects of things. You're supposed to be like more professional or
Hmm.
whatever and be, I guess, not as close and just work on what you do as the business side of things. But I
Hmm.
think that that's how you make the most impact in someone's life is when you really get to know them and you really get into that deeper side of communication and getting to understanding each other.
Right. You really get to know people on a personal level as a nurse. And mind you, they're putting their trust in you as a nurse to be able to care for them. You're essentially the one that's making the greatest impact in their life in that moment, whether it be, to get them through a condition that they're dealing with or even in their last stages of their life. So, depending on what area of nursing you're working in, you have such a big responsibility to uphold as a nurse. So I just love the ethics and values that nurses carry in their, in their practice. And me personally, I also love being a nurse because it also mixes in my faith as well.
I was just about to ask you, like, how does that play into how what you believe and like how you treat clients? Is do you use a lot of that faith-based, wordage and different like ways of communication to them? Because I think
Mhm.
that's like at the times of the end of life or at the times when you're going through something really hard, that's the only thing you can go is like the gift of despair, God, like,
Right.
and so I think that he's like very helpful in all those situations.
Yeah, so I mean, when I go into my nursing practice, I go with God, right behind me, right? He's standing right there and he's watching over me in my practice, and I believe that he's also watching over my patients. I do pray for my patients, and I do pray that he takes care of them the best that he can, and gives me the strength to care for them the best that I can. And what better healer than the one who heals and gives us life? That's Jesus. And so I want to emulate the things that he has done so that I can be a better person and a better caregiver for these people that I work with. So I definitely carry my faith 100% in my heart. And I do that in everything that I do.
Yeah, it sounds like you do it outwardly all the time. So,
I try.
yeah, I mean, I've even seen you debate people online
Oh, yeah.
about faith. Like, dude will go in a chat room with three people of different religions, and he'll go and bring his 2 cents in there, and it's
Hmm.
pretty cool to watch,
Yeah.
actually.
And I love it because in exchanging ideas and exchanging values, you tend to become closer as people. A lot of us tend to put categories to things and we tend to separate ourselves. But once we start to see how human we are and how, equal we are, we tend to gravitate more closely to one another. So I love, these forums where we're able to have these conversations on tough topics and really get to the nitty gritty of things because that's how we find out who we really are and who that other person really is.
I love it, man. And you said you've been starting a little bit of a side business too, mixing
Yes.
your boxing and your nursing, right?
Mhm.
And so, tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I actually work with a company called Mobile Combatives. And what they specifically do is they work with fighters, getting them prepped for their fights. We do fight physicals, phlebotomy, making sure that the fighter is ready for their competitions. That could be coming within the same week.
Yeah.
I will do EKGs. I will do the blood draws, making sure that they're healthy enough to compete. So I love it because although I'm not competing anymore,
It keeps you in the
uh,
game.
it keeps me in it, and I still feel invested. I'm like I meet different fighters from different places all around California, Arizona, these local states, Nevada. And I tend to follow them. Like, okay, cool. Like, when are you fighting? Oh, I'm fighting on this day. All right, I'll make sure to check you out. And I'll see them come up on TV or something. So it's really cool. It keeps me connected. And that's like one side of my business ventures. I do that, and I've also started going into IV hydration. I've seen a lot of benefits with IV hydration. I've done IV hydration personally, and I just love how it makes you feel afterwards.
Oh yeah, me and
And
Fiji were talking about it last podcast.
right.
We were in the middle of the woods camping, and we were getting ready for our race, and we did some IV bags before the race,
Hmm.
and it probably saved both of us in the
Oh
long
yeah.
run. Like when we're doing a marathon and climbing the mountains and doing all these things, like proper hydration is one of the keys to health.
Mhm. And the benefit of IV hydration is it goes directly to the bloodstream. So it bypasses a lot of obstacles where the metabolism would then break things down a lot quicker. This is essentially going directly. So now you get a greater benefit of whatever nutrients you're getting or vitamins. So that's what I love about it. It works really effectively. I remember when I was younger, I used to get vitamin B12 shots, IM, and those would be really good for my fights because I go in there energized, ready to go. It did hurt quite a bit
Yeah.
because that liquid is really tough, but it does make a difference in my performance level as an athlete.
So what kind of things can we do with IV therapies? Like, can you kind of break down like
Right.
all the kind of things we can do? Because like I might need you on December 5th
Oh yeah.
because I got to race December 6th. So
Yeah, so with IV hydration, there's all kinds of things you could do. You can do detox, you can do regular hydrations, you could do vitamin drips, you could do IM injections of different kinds, depending on what you're looking to get out of it. So, say, for example, an athlete that is going to get ready for a weight cut or anything in terms of like competition, uh, what they can do is they can get an IV drip where it's going to detox your body. And
oh, so you can shed more water faster, and
right,
so you
right.
guys can get dehydrated the
Yeah,
other
and
way.
also detoxify your liver. So you have like glutathione that will
Yeah.
also work in detoxifying your liver and detoxifying the rest of your body because, of course, our body filters out a lot of things, and this helps just facilitate that process a lot quicker. We also have IV hydration with the B complex vitamins and whatnot, and those definitely help for the energy aspect. We also have immunity support. So there's a lot of areas in IV hydration that I love, and it's just gonna keep me even more connected to people and helping them not just stay out of a hospital, right, but even progress their life in a beneficial way.
Yeah, and I've even like heard about like NAD therapies nowadays and
Yes.
stuff like that, and that's been a
Hmm.
real big one and a big
That's a
topic
popular
of
one.
popular conversation
Hmm.
right now. I know it might be a fad, but I do hear really good results from that as well.
Right. So that essentially helps out a lot with your cellular restoration. It helps keep your cells more youthful. You see a lot of people use skincare products with NAD, right? And that just keeps them more youthful, right? It helps with that cellular regeneration. And that's why it's so popular because they want to keep a youthful appearance. NAD provides that energy for your cells to stay replenished. And so that they essentially last longer and they don't die off, as easily as our bodies tend to, throw away and decompose things. So
Dude, you got your hand in all these different baskets. Like, how do you stay, on top of everything, and how do you make sure that you take care of yourself through all of it
well,
as
I
well?
I definitely do a lot of praying to get me through all these things.
Yeah.
Um, First and foremost, God. God gets me through it. I make sure I wake up, I pray, I put that energy out there so that my day goes good. Because if you don't put that energy right out the gate, then you're going to have a bad day. If
You're
you tell
setting the tone.
Right, you're setting the tone for the day. If you say, "Hey, I'm gonna have a good day," I guarantee you I'm gonna have a good day. But if I'm already waking up saying, "You know what? I don't really feel good today. I'm gonna have a bad day." You know what? Maybe your day's gonna go bad, right? So
Yeah.
essentially, I try to put that energy out there that I'm gonna have a good day.
It's great
So
mindset work, and it puts you in that good perspective going into, especially when you're going to go help people that are having bad mindsets, right? And you have to reframe them and help them get out of those bad and like toxic mindsets, because when the body's toxic, the mind's toxic, and
right,
so but it can easily be like you are the people you hang out with, and
right.
so they can definitely rub off on you as well. And so I think that's a great, mental protection for you.
Yeah, and as a nurse, I mean, I don't want to put that energy on anybody that I'm working with because it rubs off on people, right? If you see somebody coming into your room negatively and they seem like they're having a bad day, it kind of makes you feel like, okay, well, I mean, I don't know what his problem is, but I got my own problems, right? So I want to be able to give the people the energy that they deserve, right? I want to be the person that I would want somebody to be to me, right? That helping hand, somebody that can conversate with me, listen to me, and be attentive to anything that I need if I need them for that, instance. So that's like a very important part of my approach in terms of nursing. In terms of like organizing all this stuff, I really wish I had a clone so I could just
Do
do all
more
these
stuff,
things.
yeah.
Oh man, because I have so much in my mind. Like, actually, I'd even mentioned this to you earlier, but I also do a nursing education study material
Oh,
guide for nursing students. Um, I have a channel on TikTok. It's called Nurses Declassified, where essentially I'm putting out there all of the nursing tips and tricks to get past the NCLEX and get through nursing school, so that you can be prepared, to get your license and take that licensing exam.
hey, best way to learn is to teach, and honestly,
Mhm.
that is so helpful for all the people that you, because you know where you were when you were struggling, and
Mhm.
that hard. Like those tests are hard; they're not easy.
Oh yeah. I mean, just like the breakdown of like how it feels going into a testing forum like that. It's very intense. I mean, I remember just leading up to the exam. I had with probably like a month to take my exam. Now I gave myself that amount of time because I feel like I needed it. Some of my classmates took it within the same week of the graduation, where I'm like, okay, you guys are just a different breed. I'm like, I need a little bit more time. So I took that time in studying and preparing myself, and finally test day comes, and you never feel as prepared as you think you're going to be.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, if you don't feel a little nervous on game day or test day,
mhm,
then you don't care enough about it, because I feel like you have to feel that to over prepare
mhm.
for this any of these tests.
Yeah, and you go in, it's so like just intense, like the stairs and everything. You go into this testing area and you fingerprint, take pictures, you sign some waiver forms and whatnot, and you go into this room where they then have you do the fingerprint again, and make sure you sign in and everything, and you lock up your stuff, and you go into this room where there's basically like a window where they can only see you, right? It's like one of
Yeah,
those one ways.
one way.
So they can only see you and you can't see them. You got cameras around the room. It's super intense. But I remember going into that exam and I was like so calm. Like I just sat back and I'm like, okay, like, whatever. I'm just gonna take the exam. I'm gonna do my best, however I can. And I remember that first question. Oh my goodness, this is how hard it is. I'm sitting back like relaxed, and I read that first question. I'm like, maybe I'm not seeing that right. I'm like, let me just get closer.
You're on question one. You're already freaking out. You're
And
like,
it's the very question that I chose to not look at, right?
yeah,
I'm
of
like,
course. Yeah, that's
"Oh
what
my
God always
goodness."
does, right?
Yeah, he threw a wrench in the gears, and I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, I gotta really pay attention to this now." So I lean in close and I answer. And essentially, how the NCLEX works is you have a max amount of 150 questions that you can take. Minimum is 85, and 15 of those questions are throwaway. Now, this quiz, or rather exam, adapts to how well you're doing. So it gives you more opportunities to see how proficient you are. So it's an adaptive exam where you get case studies, you get, multiple choice questions, that type of stuff. And luckily, mine ended in 85, but that could have been an 85 of I did really good or 85 of I failed. And so
Yeah.
I was just waiting for the results like that next night. And, luckily I passed. And I was like so excited. My parents were getting all the congratulations. I didn't get none. But but my family, they're all like, they're telling my parents, "Oh man, we're so proud of you guys. You guys did great." I'm like, "What about me? I went through nursing school 2.5 years for this."
Yeah.
But no, I just I love that I was able to make my family proud, and that support from not only my family, but even the people here that I've connected with in Arizona.
Hmm.
You know, you and many of my other close friends. You know, I really appreciate the support because I'm sure you've seen. I would be working on assignments here
Oh
and
yeah,
working
he'd
at the
be like
front
working at the
desk.
front desk, like studying and doing all this stuff in the background, even though he's getting in trouble from Carol.
Yeah, I was working. I was working. But you know what? I really appreciate the love and support from all of my people from everywhere because that's who it was for, right? You know, my degree isn't really for me, it's for everybody else because that just allows me to help more people and connect with them in a different level. So I really appreciate that
Yeah,
support.
how you do anything is how you do everything, and like that bedside manner, that
Mhm.
communication you do with your patients is what you do with your friends too. And I definitely see it. I mean, like the amount of people we saw come to your graduation that were not
Right.
just your family, like was pretty cool.
Mhm.
And you have great people around you and a good community, dude.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, it's hey, in the fight game, in the nursing game, in all these areas, you know, you have people in your corner that are backing you, and you know, even if you don't realize it, you do have those people there, and you know, for anybody struggling with that struggle of oh man, I feel alone. You're not alone. You're never alone. You always have people that are rooting for you because we only want to see you do good, right? We only want to see you succeed and that goes for anybody out there.
And dude, how did you become so wise beyond your years? Like this guy, I was like, he's my coach, but he was always like younger than me. And I was like, oh, this guy's like, he's just a kid. And then all of a sudden I'm like, but I'm learning so many life lessons all the time, 24/7. So like, how did you, get that old soul?
Yeah, well, I mean, I learned a lot of this from God. I learned how to be patient, how to be kind, how to do things with love, and only God granted me that. There was no way I was going to be able to find that out on my own, by my own means. I feel like anything that I did out of my own volition, I felt like I was messing up, and I just put that aside, and I stopped relying on myself to make the right decision, and I let God do it, right?
Mhm.
Let go and let God, right? And so that's
Surrender.
right, surrender, let him be my mindset,
You're
right?
just a vessel.
I'm just the one making the motions, he's the one, puppeting me. And so I try to do it the best that he's taught me. And I read a lot. I love reading. I love connecting with people. I want to see what's taking in someone's mind. And, I want to be able to be a great example of that. I don't want to be a hypocrite, that says one thing and it does another. I want to be able to put it into action. And, like I said, be the person that you would want somebody else to be in your life.
Yeah.
So that be a good friend, good listener, um, somebody that can be there for you in any rough spot. I want to be that person. Rely on me and anything that you
It's the
need.
golden rule, right?
Hmm.
Be do to others what you want done to you.
Hmm.
And
Exactly.
dude, you're like the perfect blend of humility and confidence. It's really cool to see. So
Well, I always think that I have more work to do. I have a lot of work to do.
we all do, right? If we
Hmm.
self-actualize, we already be out of this life, right?
Oh yeah, no,
And they
definitely.
always take the good ones early. And so
Hmm.
I definitely think this has been amazing, dude. And thanks for any last things you want to bring up before we go, and anything that's been on the top of your mind lately.
Yeah, I would just say, for anybody that is, struggling in life, don't ever fear. You have people around you that, are there to support you. God is here and he is listening and he's listened to your problems and, whatever you're going through, he sees you, he sees your struggles and he wants to invite you to feel the love that he has to give. So, never feel afraid. Um, and hey, if you guys ever want a community to be a part of, we're down the street at Boxing Therapy. We have a great community there. We have a great family. And I like to call it a family because that's what it is, right? We have a lot of great people in Chandler in the community that, have come on down and we really have built something really good there. So yeah, just come by and be a part of the family.
Oh yeah, and any socials,
Yeah.
and like, how do we find you if I want an IV bag?
Yeah, yeah. So you can reach out to me at One Percenters Boxing. That is my business account. You could also find any nursing info on my Nurses Declassified TikTok page, and it's typed out just as it sounds, right? Nurses Declassified. And if you want some spiritual guidance or want to know more about God, you can also follow my other TikTok account. It's called Glory in Jesus. They call me Glory. Yeah, you can reach out to me there if you have any questions on faith and faith-based matters.
Dude, you're all over the place. It's
I'm
crazy.
everywhere,
I don't know.
man.
I don't know how you have all the time for all of this, but dude, it's been amazing. Thanks again for coming back on the podcast, dude. You're the man, and I will be back boxing with him soon. So
Exactly.
we're not done yet, brother.
Let's do
so
it.
thanks guys for listening. It's been a great podcast. Thanks, brother.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
we'll catch you guys next week on The Price for Paradise. My name's Woody, and aloha. Boom.
That was good.
Yeah, dude, that was awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like the tingling too. I don't even know if it was just the stem. I think
No, you already got used to that a while ago. That was just the conversation, man.
Oh yeah. Sheesh. That was good.
That was awesome.
Oh man. That was fun.